Hey everybody, it's me, Zach, and welcome back to my channel. Hey everybody, it's me, Zach, and last night when I went to bed, I saw that Miss Amberlynn Reed had gone live, and I said, I just know there's gonna be so much live stream content for me to go through tomorrow morning when I wake up. I am not thrilled about this. And then when I looked this morning at how long her live lasted, it was 3 hours long. So we're gonna get into it today, but I'll tell you right off the bat, I watched like the first hour and I think I stopped at the 1 hour and 17 minute mark. So if anything interesting happens after that point, well, fuck me. Because some things I'm not doing watching it, honestly. I spent so much time this past week watching her drunk on live stream already, and she got lucky because literally this past weekend I literally had no plans. I was not leaving my home anyways, and so I had the time. But today I already had an air conditioning guy come in and do like our regular like maintenance and checkup appointment today. I'm supposed to live stream later. I'm supposed to go see a movie with Noel later. Like, I do have plans today, and I really was gonna try to watch all 3 hours, and then I looked at what time it was, and I was like, I've only made it through 1 hour and 17 minutes of this video while taking notes and stuff like that. And honestly, truly, like for 17 minutes, the like last 17 minutes I watched, she mostly wasn't saying anything interesting or new about the crumble cookie situation. And so I was like, I think we're just gonna have to call it a day. I think we're just gonna have to call it a day. And to be honest, she does actually, honestly, in all of these live streams she's been doing lately, she does a pretty good job of keeping all of the, like, very important tea drama related content in the first hour. So I'm just gonna trust she did that again here. But yeah, feel free to drag me if I miss something really important in the last 2 hours of her live stream. But it mostly seemed like she was just gonna keep drinking buzzballs and giggling and talking to Tommy Salami off to the side and yada yada yada. Before we get into the live stream situation type deal, I do think it's important for me to come back to a lot of the questions I had about Alexis's screenshots, proof, and things like that. Alexis does this thing a lot, I've noticed, where she will only show certain parts of a conversation. And when it came to sharing like the alleged text of this video that she got from Amberlynn, she only showed like the date that it was sent on and the actual like image of Amberlynn in this video. And in my video yesterday when I was reacting to it, I was like, that doesn't necessarily prove anything. It doesn't prove that the video was filmed on July 31st. It doesn't prove even that like Amberlynn sent it, although Amberlynn has confirmed now that she did send this to Alexis, and we'll get into that later. But like, it doesn't really prove anything. And I was like, I also just don't believe that Amberlynn necessarily like filmed that video on the 31st. Like, I do think it's possible that she sent it to her, but it just wasn't making sense to me that Amberlynn would have filmed it then, based on everything that she's already said about the situation, that Erica and Brittany have said about that situation. And so I was just like, I want to go look more into this. And then it dawned on me after I'd already filmed, edited, uploaded that video, that Crumble Cookie changes their menu every week. And so I went initially to the week of July 31st, and there were no cookies on their menu that week that looked like the cookie she was eating. And then I ended up figuring out that it was like a banana split cookie, and the last time that they had had that cookie was the week of May 27th to June 1st. I told some people from my Twitch chat about this, and they were like, yeah, Zach, you're not the first to figure this out. So I'm not saying anything groundbreaking here, but I do think it's important to note that like my intuition about there being more to that it likely wasn't filmed that day, and that like Alexis wasn't giving all the evidence, I think is important to note, especially as we go on to talk more about like Amberlynn's side of the story. And it's also worth noting that if she's really getting this banana split, the last time they had that cookie was the week that I mentioned. That was the same week allegedly that she was going through the UTI concerns and being really sad that she couldn't fit in a CT scanner and things like that. So it's interesting that she was like so sad and heartbroken over that, but still found time to film this like real sexy video for Erica, which I guess you can be sad and sexy at the same time. You can be sad and still crumble your cookie, I guess, but I don't know. It just seems important and worth noting. Also, just as a refresher, I'm gonna try to speed run all of the side characters again. There's Tommy, aka Tommy Salami, aka Emily, that is Amberlynn's current partner, that is a feeder. There's Alexis, who has been Amberlynn's online friend that she's never really met in real life, and they've been friends for the past year. Alexis has been spilling a lot of tea about Amberlynn because she's mad that Amberlynn is in a relationship with Tommy, and it's really, in my opinion, turned quite just like into vengeance and wanting to seek revenge on Amberlynn by just spilling anything that she thinks can hurt Amberlynn Reid. There's Erica, aka Valentine. They actually did date long distance for about a year, about the past year-ish, and Erica's wife is Brittany, who is also somewhat involved as well. Two other characters that are going to come up are people that were referenced by both Alexis and Erica, and those are two girls that Amberlynn briefly had romantic conversations with in the DMs. I assume never actually met in real life, and their names are Abby and Danielle. So I hope that's helpful. Feel free to ask people in the comments for further clarification if you need it. But I am just giving that rundown every time because even when I do give the rundown, there's still people confused. The only other programming announcement before we get into the live stream is that there's this thing in Chicago called the Chicago Air and Water Show. It happens in, I think, August every year, and it happens over the weekend. It's basically a bunch of jet planes flying over Lake Michigan, but then the week leading up to it, they practice, and it's just loud as hell, and I can't control that, so you might hear some really loud airplanes at different points in this, and there's just maybe nothing I can do about it. I'll try to, like, edit around it as best as I can, but if it pops up, I'm sorry, besties. So anyways, Amber is live again, and she's already had one buzzball. She's starting on number 2. She's clearly a bit tipsy or drunk. And she threatens us. She threatens us with the possibility that she might start doing live streams like this once a week.
Okay. Tell you, I might start live streaming like once a week type deal and like maybe just have like a little buzzball. A little buzzball. So I've had one and now we're going to have 2.
And I just want to say, I think that people are going to grow tired of these live streams pretty quickly. People got tired of the live stream era live streams very quickly. That was back in like, what, 2020, 2021? I don't remember what year that was. Like, people already seem to be not really here for it. They were really there for it, you know, when she was really exposing tea, but I think a lot of people are getting tired of it really quick. I saw people on Twitter talking about how, like, they clocked out after, like, the first hour as well. And I think there's only so much enjoyment one can take from watching Amberlynn get drunk off of buzzballs and giggle and laugh with her girlfriend off camera. Oh, and then just like the repeated use of hectic, annoying as hell. Like, people are not going to enjoy this particular Amberlynn content for too much longer. I think also, by the way, I mentioned that like I had seen that she was live before I went to bed, and I just knew I was gonna wake up to a 3-hour stream to watch. When I saw her live before I went to bed, I also saw that like her viewers in general were much less. I think she was at like 2.5 thousand viewers last night, and her live streams from this past weekend were at like 4, 5, 6,000 at different given times. So I really hope she doesn't lean too much into this. Like, I don't mind an occasional live stream, but the live stream era was really just the worst because it was the bare minimum of effort on her part, and after a while there was not even any kind of like interesting tea that she could give or anything interesting that she could do. It was literally just her sitting there fielding like the most mundane questions for like 2 hours at a time. Like, I promise you, if you think some of her vlogs are bad, just wait until she does these live streams and the tea has gone cold, okay? So anyways, this live stream, or at least the first hour of this live stream, is really dedicated to her sharing about the time that she crumbled her cookie for Erica.
I want to give like a story time of this, like, what's it called? Crumble cookies type deal. Because it's just, it needs to be said. Because why not? And you know what? I'm not ashamed. It is what it is. I did what I did, and I just want to like explain myself.
And she's apparently not ashamed of this video that she made, and maybe she really isn't. But I do just want to say that she has been doing YouTube for like 10 years-ish, and I have watched her for a good chunk of that, and she has repeated time and time and time and time and time and time and time again that she isn't involved in any kind of feeder content. She would never make any kind of feeder content, and yet here she is doing it for one of her girlfriends. And I do just think, honestly, she probably is a bit ashamed, and I think that's reasonable that she would be. But she's really trying to act so unbothered during this live stream. In fact, at one point she even says, like, I'm unbothered. And I honestly think that there's a little bit of her that genuinely seems really upset with what Alexis did, which, like, I think makes sense. Like, I think if I trusted a friend with that kind of information or that kind of content, I would be really hurt and devastated if they shared that without my permission. She also briefly explains why she deleted the last stream.
Don't delete the stream. I won't. I also want to answer why I deleted the last one. I was put in like a vulnerable situation type deal. Like, Alexis was my best friend, who also betrays me. Hectic. For a year. And she gave me the ultimatum of, you either speak to me now or never again. So I don't know. I wasn't able to regulate my emotions that stream. It was a lot. I'm not going to lie. And I felt super embarrassed. I felt ashamed of the way I acted. Like, it was a lot at once. So I deleted it because I acted not like myself, and I was put in a position that I shouldn't have been put in. And
I just want to call bullshit on that, to be honest with you. I think it's a bullshit reason. Like, she claims that she had to delete it because she was so embarrassed. And again, maybe she was embarrassed, but like, she's left worse, more embarrassing things on her channel. And I do understand to a small extent that like, she felt like she was being put in a position she didn't want to be in. She was feeling very vulnerable, and she feels like she shouldn't have ever gone through with that call in the first place. But then I just like, she says like, oh, I didn't want to be in that position. I was in a position I didn't want to be in. And yet she could have hung up the phone at any time. In fact, she said multiple times, I'm gonna hang up, and then didn't. She could have just not taken the call to begin with. She could have just stopped live streaming. It just, like, you didn't have to have that phone call. Nobody made you have that phone call. Alexis is a stranger that lives in a completely different state than you. Like, there is nothing forcing you to have that phone call. I mean, I guess unless you want to say, like, that Alexis was, like, holding, you know, even maybe this video over you, but that's not even what Amberlynn said was the problem. Amberlynn said, I was just worried that she was never going to talk to me again if I didn't take that phone call right in that moment, so I took it. Like, that's crazy. Like, hang up. Log off. Go to therapy. And also, just based on the messages we saw that she sent Alexis from Alexis's video yesterday, it seemed like she was genuinely worried about what the internet was going to think of her because of that call, which also just leads me to believe that she wasn't really also too concerned about her friendship with Alexis. If you're more concerned about what the internet's going to think of you than you are concerned about your friendship with Alexis. So I do believe that she was embarrassed, but I just like... I just like still don't think that's the reason that she deleted the live stream, because she noted in that live stream that she was embarrassed by it all and that she probably wasn't going to delete it because everybody would already have a copy of it anyways. So I still fully believe that the reason that she deleted it or took it off of her channel was because Alexis used the real name of Tommy and the real name of Feline. So then we find out that, you know, Amberlynn says when you're dating somebody long distance, you just gotta get a creative type deal situation. Like, you gotta get creative and seductive while you're washing the dishes.
Me and Erica were together. Obviously, like, when you're in a long distance relationship, like, you have to like spice things up. You have to be like creative. And Erica really enjoyed when I would send her seductive situation type deals. Okay. So how it all started though was I was like washing the dishes, and I just got done washing the dishes, and I was like, she was like, so what are you doing? And I was like, just got done washing the dishes. And she goes, oh, I wish I could see you wash the dishes. And I was like, that's random. And she was like, without your shirt on. And I was like, oh. And I had this like image in my brain, and I was like, wait, I think I have an idea. And then at the same time, she messaged me and goes, send me a video of you washing the dishes without your shirt on. And I said, okay, I have an idea. So I created this like, someone just said Erica looks like an astronaut. Astronauts aren't real. So, I created this like creative video of me washing the dishes, and I put some music with it, and it was like seductive. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if I had an OF, it would pop off on there. So after I sent her that, she was like, whoa, I loved that so much. Like, I need you to get creative with other things. So we thought about like me getting creative with like me doing Legos. It was just like a seductive, creative masterpiece.
And just immediately after the dishes thing, my first thought was like, okay, girl, but why did you have to bring in a cookie? Like, where does a cookie come into this? I mean, she eventually gets to it, but I was just like, how do we start on dishes? How did Crumble Cookie come into this? Like, we really went from you washing your dishes one day to you crumbling your cookie for Erica. That's crazy. It's also crazy to me that she's sitting over here trying to pretend to be like creative, sexy, seductive cinematographer Lynn. And her getting creative is literally just her taking all the boring, mundane things she shows us in her regular vlogs and making them sexy. Like, she's talking about like getting sexy while doing Legos. And I'm like, I do not need to know where little tiny Lego bits have potentially found their way to in your body. Like, I don't need to know how you are creatively, seductively putting together those Lego bits. And then it's like, oh, I guess it makes sense then if that's like Erica's thing, like you doing boring, mundane things for her while being sexy. Like, it totally makes sense then that she would buy you a $400 Batman Lego. So I guess after all the mundane things that happened, she heard Erica talking about how much she loved this like banana split crumble cookie. And she said, I'm Brains Lynn over here. I'm smart Lynn over here. I'm gonna be the ultimate creative, seductive, sexy Lynn for Erica with this crumble cookie.
So something about Erica is she loves a crumble cookie or a cookie crumbles or whatever the hell it's called. She loves those. So every week she would get a new flavor. And one week she was like, oh my God, the banana split is like so good. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And just like repeatedly, she was like, you need to try this. You need to try this. You need to try this. So I was like, okay. So I wanted to film like a taste test for her. So I put 2 and 2 together and I was like, okay, Erica loves to watch my YouTube, loves when I do like a taste test. Why don't I put that in a video just specifically for her? But then why don't I make it also kind of sexy like I did with like the dishes video? And it had nothing to do with like feederism. No, because I was doing it with like other activities in my life. And this one just happened to be with a cookie. And it's nothing hectic, I promise. Like, I would show you guys if YouTube wouldn't like, I don't know. It's actually not that bad. It's not like some crazy thing.
So she crumbled her cookie for Erica, but she really claims that this has nothing to do with feederism because, well, it doesn't, and also Erica's not a feeder. This isn't feederism, y'all. And I guess I get what she's saying. She's like, oh, well, I've done all these other things in a sexy way. Like, that doesn't, it's just me doing boring things but sexy. Like, it can't be feederism. But then it's like, I also just feel like that's how it starts. Like, one day you're crumbling your cookie because it's the favorite cookie of your partner, and the next day you're deep-throating a salami and neck-deep in a rotisserie chicken. And also during all of that, she claims that, like, it's not even that bad, but she can't show us because YouTube wouldn't let her. So you're also like, it is a crazy thing. I just feel like if you can't show it on YouTube, it's probably somewhat explicit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have to say that you will potentially consider putting it on OnlyFans, but you can't put it on YouTube, like, there's probably an issue there, Miss Amberlynn.
People out here acting like they're never sent spicy pics and videos to their significant other adults doing adult things. Exactly. That is very true.
I do agree with her. If there's not an issue with, like, sharing a spicy pic or video with your partner, I think a lot of people do it. I think it's somewhat normal. And she tries to act like that's the thing that people have problems with, and that's what I have an issue with, because it's not weird that you're sending a sexy picture to a partner, a sexy video to a partner. What is weird is you making theater content despite you saying you would never make it. What is weird is that you sent this to Alexis. What is weird is that Alexis shared it with people. But no, I don't think it's weird to consensually send content like that to your partner. Which, I did just say that it was weird that she sent it to Alexis. She does have an explanation for that as well.
How did Alexis get it? So, everything went crazy with Erica and Brittany, as you guys knew. And Alexis knew all about everything, obviously. And we were on FaceTime. And I was like, oh my God, what if they like spill my nudes and show my nudes and show my tit and show this and that? Like, I was like on FaceTime freaking out. Alexis is like, what exactly did you send them? Like, I don't understand. And I was like, well, I sent Erica like some creative things. I'm not going to lie. Someone said, show us snippets, please. It would be iconic. Love you. I totally would, but not on here. I'm not even joking. Like, literally, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't. So I was telling Alexis, so like, I got some creative things. Like, it's not just like, oh, here's my tits or here's my butt. Like, I got creative. And Alexis literally said, show me something. And I was like, no. She was like, come on, I'm your best friend. Like, the whole nine, right? So I was like, okay, actually, I have a creative masterpiece I would love to show you. And since we're besties, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm going to send it to you and I'm going to show you. So I sent it to her and she literally was like, I'm not going to say what she said, but I'm just letting you guys know that she's a liar. Like, she's straight up lying. She said that it was unsolicited. No, I would never in a million years send someone an unsolicited sexual video. That is insane to me. That is like hectic. That is hectic. I would never do that. And so we were on FaceTime. So she didn't respond in text message. Everything she said was out loud. So it's like, there's a lot of things that Alexis is saying that is not true.
One thing of note that she says here is that she was freaking out that Erica and Brittany would share her nudes. But I do want to note that in a live stream just this past week, Amberlynn literally said she didn't care if Brittany showed her titty. And she claims Alexis did, in fact, ask for it and wanted examples of the types of things that Amberlynn would send to Erica. And I am inclined to believe that a little bit because, like I said at the beginning of this video, Alexis didn't show the context for anything that happened before that image was sent to her or after. And it's also hard to say because, like they both have acknowledged, so much of their communication happened over FaceTime, so it's also hard to say if, like, potentially Alexis asked in a FaceTime message. So I don't know. Who knows who's telling the truth in that situation? I think it's still weird. Like, I would not ever send any kind of sexy picture that I intended for a partner to one of my friends. So I think it's weird all the way around. But yeah, who knows until we get maybe more clarification from Alexis in a future video. And at a few different times during the stream, Amberlynn really wants to emphasize that Alexis is losing all of the important people to her in her life.
And I'm not going to sit here and spill her tea, talk shit about her, but I'm just letting everyone know that she is losing tons of people in her life currently because of what she's doing. She is trying to capitalize off of betraying me because she knows what that's doing.
And I don't know, to me it seems like she's only lost 2 people that we know of, Amberlynn and her partner Chrissy. And as far as I know, Alexis ain't ever actually had any of those people in her real life. She ain't never met Amberlynn in real life. And we found out yesterday she ain't never met Chrissy in real life. And it honestly feels like a little bit of deflection from Amberlynn. Like she wants people to think that like Alexis is not great, which I agree. Alexis is not great, not a great friend, doesn't seem to be a great person just on what I've seen on the internet. But that's just deflection. Girl, regardless of how other people in Alexis's life feel about her, like you're still out here crumbling your cookie. It doesn't take away from the fact that you crumbled your cookie despite saying you never do feeder content for people. She also threatens Alexis with screenshots, which she totally would never share, by the way, but she threatens Alexis with screenshots that she has of things that show that Alexis was not great or not a great person in her last relationship.
And like I have screenshots between her and I had permission to say, but between her and like her ex situationship, because they weren't even really official.
And honestly, the way these two go back and forth, threatening to spill things that they have on the other one and saying, I would never be the type of person to spill it, but they both totally are the type of person that would spill it. Like, honestly, it's so irritating and also entertaining at the same time. It's just like, y'all both know that you all have things on the other, and I just need you to fast forward a little bit and just put it all out there, because at this point, y'all both have a history of saying you would never spill information that you have about a person, and then doing it when push comes to shove, when you feel really backed up into a corner. Amberlynn also takes some time to suggest that Alexis was never a good friend to her.
There's a difference between like disagreeing with me, not supporting my decisions, versus like publicly like spilling tea, saying lies, making fat jokes about me, threatening revenge porn. That's not okay. Though that's like bad person vibes. That's like, you were never a good friend to me. And a lot of people are like, she's such a good friend for doing this. Where, how is that a good friend?
And honestly, no shit, Sherlock. That's why you can't sit here and find these friends on the internet in your Instagram DMs that you ain't never met in real life. And while she did clock that about Alexis, like Alexis was never a great friend to her, let's be honest, to steal a phrase from Alexis, it takes 2 to tango. And Lord knows Amberlynn is probably not easy to be friends with, is probably not a great friend. And in that sense, honestly, I think they both really deserve each other, and it's unfortunate that their friendship has ended. Amberlynn also is so confused about how Alexis one day can go from talking so publicly about how much she loves Amberlynn and how Amberlynn is such a great friend to doing all of this.
Like, it's crazy. Like, it is genuinely absurd to me what is happening. And Alexis don't care about anybody but herself. Like, she lost 2 really good people in her life because of this situation. And it's been a lot. Like, how can Alexis a week ago go publicly that I am the bestest friend she's ever had, and no one in her life has ever loved her unconditionally like I do and been there for her like I am, or was as patient as I was, to switching like that? Something is wrong. And I'm not going to sit here and bash her, but I will like to say that I want to like defend my name in certain cases.
I don't know, Amberlynn. I think it's kind of the same way that you can go from saying that everything is over with Tommy and that the internet is awful and ruined everything for you and ruined your life and you are at the lowest of your lows to then going the next day and being like, I'm still in a relationship with Tommy and this is the happiest I've ever been. It's almost like you and Alexis both have BPD and that might be some level of explanation of the way that y'all interact with one another. And in fact, somebody even brings up that Alexis has BPD later.
Someone said it's her BPD. It could be. And that's another thing that I think of all the time is like, she could be splitting and it's fine. Like 1 minute obsessed with me, in love with me, ride or die. Next minute hates me. Like, it's like, what is happening?
So yeah, it's almost like you both are the embodiment of what happens when your mental health goes untreated. And more on the little bit about Amberlynn saying that Alexis treated her partner horribly, she claims that she saw it with her own 2 eyes.
They were never like officially together, but yeah, like I'm just going to say her ex because it's easier. I don't really want to like say their name, but they don't agree with what Alexis is doing at all. Like at all. It's just horrible. And the way that Alexis has treated them, it's been awful. And I have seen it with my own 2 eyeballs. So I don't know what to say about that. You want to talk about emotionally abusive? I don't know. I would say it's there, but.
And I just need to understand how Amberlynn, who's never met Alexis in person, has seen with her own 2 eyes Alexis treat her partner, who, by the way, Alexis has never met in real life. How has Amberlynn seen with her own 2 eyes that Alexis has treated that person horribly, when the reality is those 3 people ain't never been in a room with one another? Not one of those people has met one of the other people. It doesn't make any sense to me. And yeah, like I mentioned, y'all, she's literally, truly, really so unbothered, you guys.
Right now it's Salami's girl. You know, you just got to lean into the joke a little bit. Because I really am unbothered. Like, it's just like, this is all really petty. When you really sit down and think about it, there's bigger issues in life. And it's like, we only live once. And it's like, this is petty. Truly, deep down to the core, that's what it is. And I just want to be happy, genuinely.
Yeah, the first sign of being totally unbothered by something is to make your entire Instagram handle about a joke that totally doesn't bother you, and then getting drunk on a live stream and going on and ranting about your ex-best friend, Alexis. You're totally not bothered. You are so right. She does also give an explanation for having romantic conversations with the 20-year-old named Abby.
Hey, Amber, I'm a longtime supporter, but I truthfully want to know why you spoke to a 20-year-old romantically, parentheses, Danielle. So Danielle is not 20. So I did speak to someone who was 20. I'm gonna downright say it. When I first started speaking to them, they said they were 25 and we were solely just friends. It was months later. We started flirting a little bit. At 25, I was like, okay, that's like a 6-year difference. I even talked to my mom about it. I even had moments where I was like, 6 years seems like hectic. And then I found out that she was lying about her age, and I did forgive her. But after that point, we were just friends. But yeah, it did happen. Age gap relationships are a thing. That's not something I'm interested in because it felt uncomfy to me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I prefer someone who's closer in my age. So, like my ex in her 30s, current partner in her 30s. So it's what I prefer, but it did happen. And I'm not gonna deny it. I'm not gonna sit here and deny anything at all.
And further clarifies, y'all, that she did not put a cookie on her nookie. She didn't rub the cookie on her nookie. The cookie was nowhere near her nookie.
I heard you rub the cookie on your nookie. No. I was wearing my bra and I had it and I was being seductive and I went like that. And then I had the cherry and I was like that. And then I might have put a little icing right here. Like, it was so, like, it was just like a classy, like, it was like a classy thing. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, truly, honestly, wholeheartedly.
It's really hard for me to believe that anything Amberlynn would do in a video like this would be classy, even if she wasn't rubbing the cookie on her nookie. At one point in the stream, she also claims that the response that Alexis had to the crumble cookie video really made her uncomfortable.
Why'd you send it to Alexis? Because she literally asked to see it. And then she complimented it so hardcore that it made me uncomfy. Oh, and by the way, my favorite part is like, I told Tommy, you guys already know. Okay, I told Tommy literally the day it happened. Like, that is how I am. I am very, like, honest and open in my relationships. So Alexis thought that she got one on me, but Tommy literally knew. So it's like,
it's just really interesting to me how both Amberlynn and Alexis can talk about previous things in their relationship that now all of a sudden really make them uncomfortable or that they didn't like about the other person. It's almost as if they both are only saying most of these things because they're upset about the friendship ending, not because they actually had a problem with it in the first place. She also talked about how Tommy allegedly already knew about this crumble cookie video because Amberlynn is just so honest and open when it comes to relationships. And sure, I believe she's honest and open with her partners to an extent, but were you honest and open with your partner's partners? Like, were you honest and open with Erica's wife? Like, where was the honesty when it came to how you talked to Brittany? Where was the honesty when you stayed in a relationship with Erica despite knowing that she was married? Please be serious, Amberlynn, with your honesty. Your openness and honesty, please. I mentioned this in one of the other live stream recaps, but Amberlynn once again insists that she's not a sharing screenshots type of girly.
Show the text. So Alexis likes to do this whole look at my screenshots. I don't like to do that. I personally don't like doing that. Like, it just makes me feel like icky on the inside. Like, and I have to like still be morally like myself. I have to still hold on to like a little bit of morals. Yes, I have done it before, but I've done a lot of things. I've also shown past partners peeing on the toilet. Like, I've also made out with past partners, like, on my vlogs. Like, I'm not the same person that like I was years and years ago. Like, I have changed. I am gonna be 34. So the way that I am is just like a little different.
And that's really interesting because, like, girl, you literally just did that when you exposed Valentine being Erica. And you can say that you're not the same person that you were years and years and years ago, but that was literally like a week or two ago, girl. How much change and growth has happened since then? Amberlynn also has the audacity to say that Alexis needs a lot of healing.
And Alexis is literally losing everyone that she once cared about. And all Alexis cares about is, oh my God, all the reaction channels are talking about me. I am being praised. And that's all I care about, is capitalizing off of this. Like, that's scary. And I wish her nothing but healing. That is what I think that she needs, is healing. And I miss the Alexis that I knew, because this Alexis, I do not know her. And I've never known this Alexis. I don't know what this is. But we all need healing. I need healing too. Let's be so freaking for real.
Like, you're not wrong, Amberlynn, but you really should not be throwing stones in the glass house that you live. Because she goes on to admit that she still hasn't found a therapist despite saying that she would get one on Monday.
During your last live, you swore you would get a therapist, did you? I haven't, but I'm working on it. Don't you worry.
And she also flexes that it's not just the people on the internet that are telling her to go to therapy, it's people in her real life too.
I am getting a therapist. I genuinely, truly am. Trust me, it's not just y'all. Here's a treat for Twinkie. That is so sweet. Thank you, Raven. It's not just y'all saying that I need therapy. Trust me, the closest people in my life also say it. So, and they say it kindly, though.
There are lots of people in the chat trying to get Amberlynn to say embarrassing things, and it started with this.
Amberlynn, my wife and I have been watching you forever. Can you say hi to Katie and Ryan? I was just diagnosed with ICUP. Do you have any advice? Is that like one of those, wait, is ICUP like a thing? Wait, Katie and Ryan, hello. Thank you for the support. I've never heard of that before. And I know people like to joke about like obesity being a thing. So I don't know if that's like real or a joke. So let me know.
How she couldn't figure out the grade school joke of ICUP beats me. Really fucking beats me. But she continued to just like struggle in general moving forward and was really nervous. Somebody even asked her to say the name of the capital of Iceland, and she was like, I don't know, I can't do that because it might be a slur. And honestly, she should have stayed nervous because people tricked her later in the stream into saying this.
My friend Jenna loves you and she's currently fighting with her boyfriend right now and could use your support. Can you say I support genocide? I don't know what y'all are talking about, but you know what? Girl code. I support genocide. Jenna, I hope you're okay. And to the boyfriend, be nice to Jenna, please. Thank you. No, I didn't, Nixie. That's Wilden. Oh, genocide. What the fuck? That is so fucked up. You've got to. I'm logging off. It's been fun, but it hasn't been real fun because that's fucked up.
Unfortunately, she did not, in fact, log off and continued to stream for like 2 more hours after that mistake. But yeah, she was such a fucking mess. One of the things that I think a lot of people are interested in is that it seems like Alexis was kind of thirsty for some kind of like monetary support from Amberlynn, and Amberlynn actually addresses Alexis's claim that Amberlynn never sent her money.
Oh, the money thing. Alexis expecting someone to like give you money is A1 hectic, like off the chain crazy. But secondly, I have proof that I sent her money on Venmo, honey. I have actual proof of that. So, because I was a friend to her and I knew that she was in need, so I literally sent her money. So, I don't know what to say about that one. Like literally all of my like transactions on Venmo, like they're there. So, you can't really get out of that one. Just saying. And you like expecting money from someone, like that's weird. Like I'm not your mom. Like I'm not taking care of you. Like I'm not your parent. Like that's wild to me. And if I would have ever said that about somebody, people would have like came for me for the throat. Like people would have like literally came for me.
I will say I'm curious about like what kind of money Amberlynn sent her, because I could totally see Amberlynn being like, well, you know, I paid for you to get Chipotle once, which is a vastly different financial commitment versus like if she paid for Tommy Salami's flight to Oklahoma and the rental car situation type of deal. Like those are 2 very different financial needs. And I do think it's a little bit weird and odd for Alexis to even like bring up wanting money from Amberlynn or needing money or not getting money from Amberlynn. But also based on the way that Amberlynn has always talked about all of her friends and how she does send money to her friends, like she fully at one point was giving money to her ex Destiny and Destiny's girlfriend at the time, Dana. So, like, I could see a world where Alexis kind of assumed that that's just how Amberlynn goes about her relationships with people, and I could see her feeling a bit slighted that she didn't get any of that. Again, I do think it's cringe to expect any of your friends to just, like, support you in any kind of way, especially if you never asked for it. But, like, I do understand where she might be coming from. And I know we all were like very surprised by Amberlynn's revelation that she doesn't have a labia minora, but she's also somehow defied human biology and apparently doesn't fart.
Fart on camera. That is a no, but that's super amazing of you to ask. That would never happen. I don't really fart. Genuinely, I don't really fart.
Y'all, I had to include that because I'm a shitting, pissing, and farting channel if you didn't know. I'm also really disappointed because we apparently missed out on the opportunity for Amberlynn to have been nibbling on a crumble cookie during this live stream.
Besides crumble cookies. Don't come for me, crumble, but I'm just not in the mood. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was thinking about getting one today. I was going to sit on here with like the mint one. And then I was like, you know what? Let's not. Because people would come for me and hate me for real.
Like, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, that would be so funny to me. Like, that could have been real creative cinematography Lynn. And instead, we got a live stream for 3 hours where she drank Buzz Balls and got drunk. Like, I really think she could have had, like, a million views on a video that was her doing a crumble cookie mukbang, telling the story about how she seduced her girlfriend while crumbling her cookie. You know what I'm saying? Like, that could have been a multi-million viewed video, and instead we got this boring ass live stream. Now, I thought she was gonna address the relationship with Danielle, but she really just wants to highlight how somebody in her life, girlfriend or not, named Danielle, got doxxed.
Speaking of Danielle, this is something else. People went to my, my Venmo and looked at my friends list, which is now private because y'all are hectic. Hello Kitty, I think that would be 52 or something. So, you guys found like my friend Danielle. Like, you guys found the wrong one. Sometimes when you guys dig deep, y'all find the wrong one and harass the wrong one. It's not that Danielle. So I would probably say like stop while you're ahead.
I don't know that I really necessarily believe that people found the wrong one. I don't know. I haven't seen any of that. And Amberlynn claims it's the wrong one. I want to reiterate, I think it's weird that people went through her Venmo trying to find somebody named Danielle to see if that person was the person that Amberlynn had a relationship with. But it is so dumb for her to confirm that people even found this Danielle, even if it's not the one that's in a relationship. Like, the most important thing that I have learned and heard other people say about getting doxxed on the internet is that if you do, it is not a good idea to confirm that it happened. Like, it is not a good idea to confirm that people got close. It's not a good idea to confirm even that this person has any kind of relationship to you because it's just gonna push people to go further with it. Amberlynn also says that there's allegedly nothing else that Alexis could share that Amberlynn would be scared about.
Is there anything Alexis could leak or say that could scare you? No. She's said the things that like I already didn't want her to say. Like, I didn't want her to talk about like people I've talked to in the past, like romantically. Like, I didn't want her to mention all that stuff. I've only ever been a good friend to her. I've only ever been a good person towards her, and I'm not really going to stop now. I just think that I need to be able to sit here and say publicly, like, I feel betrayed. I do. And I also hate that, like, she's also lying about some things. That's not fair.
I sort of believe it, because, like, what could possibly be worse than a video of you crumbling your cookie? But I also do think that there's probably still stuff out there, because why else would Amberlynn, like, vaguely threaten that she has some kind of evidence or proof of Alexis not being a good partner? Like, that felt like a threat to Alexis of, like, you better watch yourself before you share more information. So, I don't know. I think that there's probably still some stuff that Alexis could pull out of her bag to embarrass Amberlynn with. And there was one point in the stream where Alexis was either trying to text Amberlynn or was, like, in the live stream chat or something. and Amberlynn was like off screen. The screen was black. I think she was getting another buzzball or something. And you could hear Amberlynn telling Tommy on FaceTime that, you know, she blocked Alexis, that she doesn't need Alexis to like try to communicate with her and things like that. And I don't really have anything to say about this clip, but if I have to hear it, you do too.
Did salami go inside your coin slot? Yes.
And I also don't have anything to say about this clip, but just feel like you should have to hear it too.
What do you know about gulping and choking? Well, I am a gold star lesbian, so nothing. Unless you consider like a handy. I have done a handy. I've done 3 handies.
And I also don't have anything to say about this clip, but feel like you should have to hear it too.
Do you fingerlin yourself? I'm leaving the chat. That's not okay to talk about. That's different.
And just to wrap up of what I watched, of what I saw, she goes on her little diatribe once again about how Tommy is the greatest love she's ever experienced. Nobody's ever given her this kind of soft and gentle love before in her life.
Is she the one? I don't like saying things like this because people always think I'm trying to shade my exes, which no, not what I'm doing. I'm just trying to share my experience. But like, she genuinely is like the first person I've been with that like calms my nervous system and is like gentle with my heart and my feelings. And it just feels pretty amazing. I've never said that about anybody else. I have never said that about anybody else. And if I have, come for me. But I swear to you, I haven't. Every relationship I do say, oh, they're such a good person. Because I try to find the good in people I'm with. Obviously, you're not going to want to be with someone that's like a bad person. So obviously I do sit there and I'm like, wow, they're such a good person.
And it's kind of crazy to me that she's saying out loud what like everybody on the internet is saying to her, and she is just somehow wording it in a way that makes it feel positive to her. Like, you are literally looking past the red flags to see the good in somebody because you don't want to be dating somebody that's bad. Like, that is what you're doing, and you literally just worded that perfectly, except that you were talking about doing that for all of your past relationships. Like, why you can't see that you're doing that once again with Tommy Salami? Wild to me. But here we are. But yeah, that's all I could stomach today. Actually, I probably could have stomached more if I simply had more time, but I just don't have the time, and I was just not gonna sit there and listen to the same garbage over and over and over again from her. So, I'm good. I'm good. But do feel free to let me know if I miss anything too important. Maybe I can return to it for a future video. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good. It was enough to sit through the first hour of her talking about crumbling her cookie. I don't need any more. I don't need any more than that. Anyways, besties, that's all I have today. If you're brand new to my channel, consider subscribing down below. Hit the bell button so you get a notification every single time I upload a new video. Make sure to leave me a comment, hit like, click share, and follow me on all my social media. I had a whole lot of fun today. I hope you did too, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!